Hey everybody, it is Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and I'm out here in the garage setting up to record for the Texas Gun Vault poll question of the week. Get that filmed and edited. But while I was doing that, I wanted to come to you and talk about something that I've been kind of mulling around in my mind, an observation that I have been making. And some of this has to do, of course, with firearms YouTubers, but also I think the human condition when it comes to finding and following a religion. I kind of feel like people are predisposed in some way to have something that they want to believe in and fight for that is bigger than themselves. There's something just innate in our personality. And for a lot of people, that is a religious thing. But for other people, that can be something outside of that. That can be government. Sometimes we talk about people that are all about the big government. That's their God, in that their God can provide for them and they have to worship their God. They have to support their God. I think everybody kind of does this to some degree. And as I said, it doesn't have to be necessarily an organized religion or a religion itself or a deity. But we all approach certain topics with this mindset. And that can be good or bad. But as I tell people, you can do a lot of crazy things in life as long as you do it in moderation. Moderation is so important. It's like drinking. I'll tell you a little something about me. I have never been drunk in my entire life. But guess what? I drink. I like tequila. I like beer. I like whiskey. But I've never been drunk. The idea of losing my faculties is something that has never appealed to me. And in the course of my life, having one, maybe two drinks is about all that I need. And even when I do drink, it might take me a very long period of time to complete that drink. When I buy a six-pack of beer, I have it out here in my fridge, which is below my workbench, it might take me a week and a half, 2 weeks to finish off the six-pack. Okay, so I do drink, but I've never been drunk. But I do enjoy drinking. So everything in moderation. And I feel like sometimes I'm going to use the word obsession, but our love of firearms for some people can be unhealthy. And not just saying the collection or the ownership of guns. I'm talking about the mentality of how we approach the Second Amendment and guns. And I want to make an analogy here regarding firearms YouTubers, or maybe people in the gun community, that in many ways are like certain types of preachers. Now, I don't think in order to understand this analogy, you necessarily have to be a religious person, okay? You don't have to attend church. But I think you'll understand the type of people that I'm talking about and the type of people that are receptive to this type of messaging. As an INTJ on the Myers-Briggs personality type indicator, I am very introverted, and I am acutely aware of the influence actions of some people or the words of some people can have on others. One of the things that I fear in my life is the mob mentality. I find that mobs, and I don't mean that like if people going out to like do destructive things. I mean just people in a group. Because people in a group generally are stupid. A good example would be you're driving down the road. And around here we have the Dallas North Tollway. Relatively a pretty fast road. And I think the speed limit is like 70, and people easily go 90 down this thing when they can. Because they're driving Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Porsches. It's like an exotic car park is what the damn thing is. But anyway, so you're out there. But then occasionally, somebody will be in the center lane, and a bunch of cars are coming up on this person. Maybe they're not going super fast. And you can't see anything down the road, meaning like it looks clear. All of a sudden, for whatever reason, this person puts on their brakes. They just tap the brakes. And everybody sees those brake lights. Even though everything is clear. I mean, even though there's no obstructions, no obvious incidences, nothing ahead. And the road is clear to pass the person on the right and the left. Everybody in the group that you're traveling with all of a sudden slows down. Even though there's nothing to cause that to happen. They see just the tapping of the brake lights for whatever reason, which makes absolutely no sense. Why are you tapping your brakes on this road unless there was something to be cautious of? And of course, you should watch other people, see what their actions are, because maybe somebody down the road reacting in a certain way can tell you that there's danger or an obstruction or so forth. But all of a sudden, this entire fleet of vehicles slows down. And you're like, why are you doing this? And then after a couple of minutes, you realize there was nothing. There was no speed trap. There was no accident. There was nothing. There was nothing in the road. That person slowed down, but this mob mentality of the drivers, everybody slows down from 80 miles an hour to 50 miles an hour for no reason whatsoever. And I find that to be an absolutely powerful observation, because the words that we use, the way that we present ourselves, whether that be willful or unwillful, can strongly affect the actions and thought processes of other people. Very, 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 very powerful thing. And some people can tune into that, and they use that knowledge to their advantage to gain power, prestige, influence, all the things that many people desire and drive for, including money, okay? Including, I don't know, as I said, prestige or just notoriety. Well, there's a couple of types of people that are preachers or ministers or whatever your denomination, if you're even religious, calls them. And we know those types. So, for example, we have the type of preacher that is the fire and brimstone type. In fact, I'll tell you a little story. My wife is estranged from her father, who actually is a minister. And I won't go into the details of why, but anyway, as the church that he goes to and works at, they are a fire and brimstone. So they go to a fundamental Baptist church. And pretty much, if you would see any of their sermons or their literature or the things that they put out, it is constant fear-mongering. The end is here. Like, the world is ending today, right now. And you're going to hell. And it's just in your face. You're a terrible person. You're going to hell. You need to be fearful. There is no message of joy, happiness, redemption, hope. It is, if you don't want to spend eternity in in hell and in the hottest depths of hell, you are a terrible person. You are going to die today. Today is the ending. And I personally look at this type of message and go, okay, that's obviously going to be receptive to some, because people will be fearful and you might be able to influence them. But on the whole, you're not going to get many people to follow you. And that's the way this church is, to my understanding. They're a very small church and they can't grow because I think their message is terrible. Now, how does this relate to firearms YouTubers? Well, obviously, we can all think of certain firearms YouTubers out there where every day is doom and gloom. Every day. And sometimes, as I said, it's justified. There's what do they say about conflicts? There's one side, the other side, and then there's the truth. So every time the ATF does something, okay, sometimes it's justified. They propose a rule, like the pistol brace rule, the bump stock rule, the frames and receivers rule. We all know those are pretty bad things that are unconstitutional, and we need to fight to overturn, and it's a gross infringement on our Second Amendment rights. We all agree on that. But then once in a while, they'll do something relatively innocuous, okay? They'll add something silly like non-binary to the gender or sex options on the 4473, okay? Does that affect you or me? No. But literally, there will be people out there going, oh my God, the ATF's coming for your guns. They added non-binary to the 4473. They're totally woke. And now they're going to try to find out your sexuality and who you sleep with. And if they find out that you slept with somebody you said you were straight or male and you slept with a woman, but you said you were non-binary, they're coming to take your guns. It's like, whoa, hold up. Stop. Okay. It's not that nefarious, okay? They're just being woke idiots, okay? It's stupid. There's no reason for it to be on the form, but whatever, okay? But literally everything they do is the ATF coming to get your guns. I mentioned in one of my previous videos here on the channel then I said, sometimes the ATF does something good, like maybe they'll confiscate a shipment of illegal Glock switches from China that were headed to a gang in Los Angeles. And I said, you have to admit that's probably a pretty good thing, because we don't want those Glock switches in the hands of people that already shouldn't own guns, because innocent people could die. They actually did their job and did a good thing. So once in a while, maybe once in 1,000 times, you can look at the ATF and go, hey guys, you did something good. Thanks for preventing those illegal machine guns from being manufactured and probably saving some lives, because these were just going to go into the hands of cartels and drug dealers and so forth. So good job, okay? But that's 1 out of 1,000 times. But there were people responding to that comment in the comment section saying, essentially, probably that was a setup or whatever. The ATF was doing that so they could take your guns. It's like, not everything they do is that. But that's the doom and gloom people, okay? And so there's YouTubers that literally everything that they do, every proposed rule, even if it's innocuous. Another one was the safe storage of ammunition regulation. How are they ever going to enforce that? They don't come to your house. They can't come to your house without a warrant. They're not going to get a warrant from a judge going, hey, we think that they're storing a box of 9mm. Get this, in their dresser drawer and not in a safe. A judge is going to go, get the hell out of my courtroom. Get the hell out of here. They're not going to give them a... So why are people freaking out about that? But you got the doom and gloomers out there, and they get people all fired up. And the people that are receptive to it go out there and look like fools, just like the people that, would go to those churches where it's all fire and brimstone. And the YouTubers that are doing this know full well it's not a big deal, but they go out there and they project this sense of fear to get you all drummed up, all emotional, so you keep clicking those videos. That's what they want. Taking that mouse over their video, click, 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 and send them money. Please save me, right? You're looking for your absolution of sin. Oh my God, I have to send them money so they can fight for my gun rights, because I'm so scared they're going to come and take everything I have because of the non-binary option now on the 4473, and I have to store all my ammunition in a safe. Chill. But just like religion, there's the opposite end of the spectrum. You have the people that are addicted to hopium. And now, I've borrowed that term from other people. Essentially, it's like a made-up emotional drug about hope. People that just want the hope. We're always winning. The victory is just around the corner. So take a look at a church like, or a pastor like Joel Osteen. If you don't know who that is, he's a televangelist, but he has this gigantic church down in, I believe it's Houston, Texas. And a lot of mainstream Christians criticize him. He's this multi-millionaire. And I mean, although I do not watch his sermons or anything, I am aware that he doesn't really preach anything from the Bible. As I said, this is not a Bible or Christian religious talk. And but that's why he's constantly criticized, because he teaches something in a concept called, I believe it's called the prosperity doctrine, which is if you believe hard enough, only good things will happen to you. And so if you have something in your life where you are diagnosed with a disease, or you're in an accident, or you lose your job, or people are mad at you, or whatever the reason is, it's because you weren't believing hard enough. You weren't Christian enough. You weren't, it was that. So his whole idea is he's so wealthy and so rich because he believes so much and he wants to be the example. And we all know that's not reality either, okay? Because, bad things are going to happen to everybody. Bad things happen to everybody. But of course, people that are in low places in their life, they find an attachment to this type of message and go, I want to be wealthy. I want to be in a better place with my relationships. I want to be whatever it is. I want to have more power and influence. And here's somebody telling me, if I just believe hard enough, if I believe in enough of this hope, that's all that I have to do. And of course, send them money. But all I have to do is do this and my life will be better. The tomorrow is always the better day. And that's not reality. Yeah, sometimes you have good days. Sometimes you have really, really bad days. And it's about this moderation. You're going to have good days and bad days, but you got to be prepared for them. And a bad day isn't because you didn't believe hard enough. But let's talk about YouTubers in this context and what they do using the same concept and the people that are receptive to it. We can all think of certain YouTubers out there that every day, every single day, they put out a video. And it's, NFA loses, we win. Or Supreme Court 5-4 decision overturns Second Amendment infringement landscape forever. Or every day it's no more NFA, suppressors are legal. And you actually watch the video and it has nothing really to do with that. But they give you hopium every single day. It's the courts have finally struck down the NFA. They finally struck down the machine gun ban. They finally struck down whatever it is, the pistol brace rule. They finally struck down the whatever rule it is. But that's what the theme, the title, and the thumbnail all say. And so you're like, gotta watch, gotta click. Oh my God, it's the greatest day in the world. And then you find out, oh, it's not. It's just a procedural video where they're saying, okay, an amicus brief has been filed in this court, and maybe one day they'll get around to reading it and if this works, well, one day it can be overturned. Well, that's hopium. But it gets you all fired up once again because you think you've won. It's today's victory. But in reality, nothing has changed. It's the same as it was yesterday. But you still click and send them money. Yeah. Or you're giving them money by watching the video, which is fine, by the way, which is fine. I watch some of that stuff myself from time to time. All about moderation, right? Just to stay informed. But I think you guys understand where I'm going with this. The people that feel like the Second Amendment is literally destroyed and gone 100%. They look at this and go, oh my God, we're winning. And so these people know full well that what they're saying isn't factually accurate or true, but they get the masses, the opiate of the masses, to watch their videos and believe it. And as an INTJ, I'm always perplexed by both sides of this argument because I am a big believer in the fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me paradigm. Because if you come to me week after week, day after day, month after month, saying, huge win, no more NFA, Supreme Court strikes down ATF restrictions, literally for months after months after months, and then I can objectively go and look at the state of the Second Amendment and what the laws actually are. I can't go down to my gun shop and just buy a suppressor and bring it home the same day without filing the ATF paperwork and all that stuff. Well, then why were you lying to me all this time? So I look at this and go, well, this is ridiculous. You've lied to me so long. And because none of it comes true, I don't believe you. But on the other hand, you have the people that are like every single thing that the ATF does. Like I said, maybe confiscating a shipment of Glock switches from China. Oh my God, this is the greatest infringement of all time. Shall not be infringed. ATF can't do it. They were probably bringing this in on purpose. So it's like, whoa, dude, stop. Like literally, I totally get it that they're infringing on our rights with the big rules, the pistol brace, 80 percenters, bump stock stuff. I get that. But man, just, changing the organization of the 4473 or, doing something like, stopping a gang shooting in Dallas. Dude, that's not them, some nefarious, malicious thing trying to get public opinion to come confiscate your guns and give them power. Like sometimes, as I said before, Sigmund Freud said, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. And that's it. And so there's this huge mass of people in the gun world that follow this stuff, when I personally believe the truth lies in the middle. We're going to have victories. I mean, look at the pistol brace injunction. That's definitely a victory, right? But we're going to have losses as well. It's going to go this way. It's not one way or the other 100% of the time, regardless of what you feel and regardless of what you think. Because as Ben Shapiro says, facts don't care about your feelings. So if you have a feeling that this law is unconstitutional, okay, maybe it is, okay? However, there's a lot of people that disagree with you. Why do your feelings trump their feelings? And the practice of enforcing this law means it's enforced constitutionally. In practice, it is constitutional, even though you say it's not. So you screaming from the rooftop saying it's unconstitutional, shall not comply, or I will not comply, doesn't change anything. And I think it's important to know that, because you have to work within the system to change the system unless you're willing to go to full-on revolutionary war. But understand that if you go to that level, there are consequences. And that's why we want to reserve the final option, of a civil war, a revolutionary war, to when it absolutely is necessary. Because if you play your hand too soon, like in poker, if you get a great hand, you get pocket aces, okay, and you're at a pretty tight table, and you go all in before the flop. If you guys understand my poker analogy, and you've been playing real tight all day, and you go all in on pocket aces, what's everyone else going to do? Fold. They're all going to fold because you overplayed your hand. You didn't gain anything. And in many ways, you kind of lose, right? You had the opportunity to make huge gains if you would have played that hand better. But because you were like, oh my God, this is it, everyone knew there was something amiss. Well, think about, fighting a revolutionary war or a civil war, right? Understand that there are going to be people on the other side. And as angry as you are pointing weapons at other people, they're going to be pointing them back. Then you could be hurt, injured, or died. And they're going to have the weight and power of government at that time and the weight of public opinion, most likely, on their time. And you could be killed. Your family could be killed. You could lose everything. If you do survive, you could lose your freedom. Now, I'm not saying that there's never a time or shouldn't be a time for a revolution or civil war. As Tim Pool talks about all the time, that we're kind of in a cold civil war now. It's not a hot civil war. We're not actually, in the streets with guns and all that. But it's, the emotions are getting up there. But the time is not now, because we can still work within the system. I don't think that them attempting to ban 80% receivers, now that it looks like it's going to be overturned, which is awesome. However, when they proposed that rule, that wasn't the time to get the knives, the pitchforks, and the firearms out and go march on DC. That was not the time. Okay, we got to pick and choose our battles. Now, if the government makes an executive order, the president makes an executive order that every law enforcement officer has to go into houses without warrants and just do full searches looking for firearms for no reason whatsoever. Okay, well, that is a whole nother thing, right? That's a whole nother thing. Maybe at that time, doing something drastic might be called for in some circumstances. But that's not what we have. We just have a proposed rule. It's not time for the revolution yet, okay? We can still work within the system to defeat the rule, just like we did in the courts, right? With the injunctions on the pistol brace, and now it looks like the cases when it comes to the 80%ers. We worked within the system to get an outcome that we wanted. Nobody has to be hurt. Nobody has to die. And you can win the people in the middle, in that middle ground, through your actions of nonviolence, right? Because once you go violent, there might be no coming back from it. And you could lose way more than what, you're trying to fight for and gain. But as an INTJ, getting back to what I was saying, is I see this type of mentality all the time, and it scares me because I see it in religion, right? I see it in politics, where we have this bifurcated society of you're either conservative or liberal. Well, while I would definitely say I'm very libertarian, I don't believe in every plank of the Libertarian Party. They believe in things like open borders and the complete legalization of all drugs. I don't believe that, but I believe in 75 to 80% of the libertarian platform. But I get people in my videos going, "You're not a real libertarian because you don't believe that." Well, then, what am I? Well, I definitely don't believe everything the Republicans believe or the Democrats believe. So you have to kind of pick and choose it. Things lie in the middle. You don't have to, it's not a black and white thing, but people are told it's a black and white thing. You're going to hell. You need to be absolved of your sin. The only thing you can do is come to our church. It's like, okay. And then the other side is, the only reason you're suffering is because you don't believe hard enough. That's not true either. The truth is in the middle. The truth is in the middle. The truth of what we're trying to do and expand the Second Amendment is in the middle. And people need to be in the middle. I'm not saying in the middle politically. I'm just saying in the middle with their mindset and understand to put things in perspective. Like I was saying, I drink, but I've never been drunk. I can do it in moderation. There are other vices in life. I think it's important to have a vice from time to time, an outlet, whatever that is for you. But if it's done responsibly and in moderation, you can enjoy that, but it doesn't take over your life. You don't make irrational, silly, and stupid decisions because you are driven by emotions. And as an INTJ, I am not driven by emotions. I am driven by my mind, my rational mind. And it's why I'm so scared of the mob mentality. Because the mob mentality is not one of the mind. It's one of the heart. It's one of feelings. Oh my gosh, there's somebody slowing down on the highway. I got to slow down because maybe they know something that I don't know. No, maybe they're just an idiot because they're an idiot, right? We're surrounded by idiots. What is that line in the movie Spaceballs when Rick Moranis' character is like, oh my God, I'm surrounded by assholes. Yeah, you are. You are. So when you watch YouTubers, and more specifically the ones that deal with legal and politics and things, ask yourself, what type of YouTuber are they? What type of minister are they of the Second Amendment? Are they a fire and brimstone? Or are they a hopium that just gives this hope drug to the masses and never delivers, and neither side delivers on any of their promises and their predictions? Or are they somebody that's in the middle, which is what I try to be? I always joke saying I know everything and my predictions come true, because I'm not here every day saying, oh my God, it's the end of the NFA, nor am I telling you, oh my God, they're all coming for your guns. The truth is something in between. That's the way it's always going to be. If you wake up every day believing that the Second Amendment if you believe every day that the Second Amendment should have absolutely no infringements on it, you're living in a fantasy world, because there will never be a day in your life, your kid's life, your grandkid's life, your great-grandkid's life, that there will not be some type of rule, regulation, law, something on weapons. Now, we can have very small rules and regulations, but there always will be some rule or regulation. Like if we have a court, there is no way that they're going to allow people to bring in and present fully automatic machine guns just because it's your Second Amendment right in a courthouse. It's just not going to happen because it's intimidation. It will never happen. But if you go, all laws are infringement, well, you're living a pipe dream, right? But also, conversely, I always talk about, I always say I'm not very hopeful of the future of the Second Amendment, but I don't believe that everything will go away. Even if they did repeal the Second Amendment and pass gun laws and ban everything, people are still going to make guns. The Second Amendment will just go underground. There will still be people that own guns, make guns, shoot guns, and work on firearms technology. It'll just be underground. So what it will be, it won't go away. So the truth lies in between. And that's where you need to be. And when you're watching these videos, reflect on the type of person you are, the type of content that you're receptive to, and ask yourself, is it really beneficial? in the long run? Are you being fooled? Are you being duped by these people? You might be. I'm not going to say you are. I really think it's important from time to time to have self-reflection. I mentioned in some of my videos that what I do from time to time, when I'm laying in bed at night, I go on these thought journeys where I go, what if I am wrong? I mean, I believe I'm right with the Second Amendment, but what if I'm wrong? What if the anti-gunners are right? And I really try to put myself in that mindset, in that place, and go, if we really did ban guns, and I really try to feel it from their perspective as much as I can feel. And it's really good for me to do from time to time because it allows me to see their perspective. And I'll run through the analysis and the thoughts. And I'll come back to where I'm at and go, okay, while I might not have changed my mind, and their arguments are not persuasive, and I can look at history and facts and it's on my side, I now understand their mentality a little bit more, which allows me to interact with them in a more productive way. And that's how we can advance the Second Amendment. You know, you don't have to be monolithic in your beliefs forever. You know, I do think it is a sign of maturity and thoughtfulness if occasionally you change your perspective on things. Little secret. When I was in college, I was definitely left-leaning. I know, it's hard to believe. People that know me now would not believe me. I had these thoughts because I was being influenced by the people around me in that environment. 9/11 changed all of that for me. That was the day that I shut off listening on the radio to, what's his name? The shock jock, Howard Stern, and started listening to Rush Limbaugh. And that changed my trajectory of my political thoughts forever. And I'm willing to admit that I was wrong, that I changed my mind. And even between then and now, I've changed. For a while, I was very conservative Republican, and now I'm much more libertarian. And I'm willing to admit that I've changed. I'm willing to talk about it. I'm willing to admit that at times I was wrong about things. But that's part of growing, being mature. And I think it's important that you guys do the same too. It's okay if you believe something right now, and then you're presented evidence and information that changes, or you realize, oh no, I'm wrong, and to openly admit that you were wrong and changed. It's a sign of maturity and growth. It's not a sign of weakness. So anyway, I know this has been a long one, but this whole thing has been on my thought process for the past week. What do you guys think of my analogy? Are some YouTubers, the legal ones, the political ones, are they like those ministers with their fire and brimstone? Or are they full of hopium? Or are they something in between? But look at the big channels. I guarantee you the ones that are the biggest channels are the fire and brimstone and the hopium channels, not the ones in between. But ask yourself how you're influenced by them, and is it healthy? And do you have a balanced approach to all of this? Just because you should be mentally healthy, happy, content, and I think rational. And that's where I want you guys to be. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I am always appreciative of all of your perspectives because I grow in all of this because of you. Like I hope that when I bring this to you, you grow a little bit because of me. And having that dialogue and that interaction is incredible. So, if you've made it to the end of this 34-minute video, tell me in the comment section below what your Myers-Briggs personality type is. If you know yours. If you don't, go over to 16personalities.com and take their little test. And when you do, make sure you answer honestly. Don't answer the way you think other people would want you to answer. Answer truthfully. And tell me what your personality type is. I'm kind of curious when it comes to the gun community if personality types are drawn to the Second Amendment more than others. But I'm an INTJ, an introvert, intuitive, thinker, and judger. Rare personality type, second rarest personality type, or 2% of the population. The rarest type is an INFJ, which is 1.4% of the population. So anyway, and you also get to learn about people that are famous, either real or fictional, that have your personality type. Like INTJs, like myself, are typically excellent villains in movies, like the Emperor from Star Wars, Professor Moriarty from Sherlock Holmes. You name it. Sauron from Lord of the Rings, the mastermind architect personality type, that's an INTJ. But I use my powers for good and not evil. So anyway, I look forward to seeing what the comments of this video have in store. So as always, thanks for watching.